A big problem decades in the making. Prison overcrowding appears to be a major factor in the decision to grant an early release to the man accused of fatally shooting Sheffield Police Sergeant Nick Reisner.
Brian Martin only served about 3 years of a 10-year sentence for killing his own father. Martin was out on that early release with no mandatory supervision when police say he shot and killed William Milback Jr., then led officers on a high-speed chase through Muscle Shoals. That ended in a shootout and the killing of Sheffield Police Sergeant Nick Reisner on October 1st.
Months after demanding the DOC release Martin's prison records, 200-plus pages arrived at our station after we paid more than $200 for them. WAAY-31's Matt Kroschel continues to track this complex issue of good time release. And Matt, a former prosecutor who reviewed the same documents we have in our possession, says the deciding factor on whether or not to release someone from prison should not be overcrowding.
And Marie, that decision is one former prosecutor Jay Town tells me was a mistake that Alabama Department of Corrections should have to answer for.
We have to own these mistakes, but we also have to look back at the process that allowed for this individual to only serve 30% of his sentence.
Jay Town is a former prosecutor, and he says the decision to allow Brian Martin out early despite 4 disciplinary actions while locked up is a clear case of a broken prison system in Alabama.
Prisons are overcrowded. We don't have enough guards. There's too much violence inside of the prisons. Let's get some of these prisoners out of here. But we also have to have common sense that, the violent prisoners or the violent offenders among us, they don't need to be back walking on the street.
Martin received 75 days for every 30 days he served under good time rules reserved for model prisoner behavior. The records we reviewed show he was caught with contraband, unauthorized drugs, fighting, and he didn't obey a guard's direct orders. After reviewing the documents that we actually obtained from the Department of Corrections, their own folks that made this decision are saying, I don't know if I feel good about this release, but due to the overcrowding issue, we need to toss him out.
ADOC should admit that it was a mistake. It was a fatal mistake. Sergeant Reisner with Sheffield PD was murdered. Another man was murdered.
Prison officials on the review board who ultimately decided to let Martin out commented that Martin had somewhat of a tendency to engage in aggressive behavior, writing minimum out is approved based solely due to system needs.
The tragedy that happened in Sheffield is nothing more than an underscore of a bad decision.
When Martin was released in 2016, there were more than 22,000 inmates in custody for a system that was designed to hold slightly more than 13,000 inmates. Alabama faces a Department of Justice lawsuit right now demanding that the state reform and improve conditions inside the state prisons. The state is set to build new facilities, but they remain extremely short-staffed. Those issues continue to play into this issue, and we are committed to continuing our reporting on the system many believe remains broken. Live in the studio, Matt Kroschel, WAAY-31 News.